Welcome back, guys, to Tabletop Vibes. Today, we're reviewing Last Kingdom by Gamelyn Games. Adam, what'd you think of the game, and what do you think of the series?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys have seen the series Last Kingdom. I was a huge fan before I knew that Gamelyn.
I've never seen it.
Well, yeah, it's now. Gamelyn Games made Last Kingdom, the board game, and so I watched this religiously for a long, decent time till it was done. But man, I love it. Uhtred, son of Bevenberg, right? Viking, Dane, going across. Essentially, if you've never watched the show, he's a Dane in old world England, and he's fighting the Saxons and the Mercians and the Northumbrians.
Yes.
Or Wessex.
Yes.
Because it's like really cool in the show that you always see them like, what it was and then what it's called.
Okay.
And then, like, so they do a lot of cool things like that. The dude also has an awesome sword with like it looks, honestly, maybe this ruins it, but it looks like he has the Jurassic Park jewel with the inside the top of his hilt. It looks awesome in my opinion. But essentially, he's going around and he's helping all the kings. At some point, he helps all the kings to try to unite the Danes, or he fights against the Danes, or he's fighting the Mercians, or he's fighting with. It's a lot of fighting. He's a Viking.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I love this show, and this game delivers in theme on that show. And then, what else did you like about it?
All right, so let's get to the game.
The actual
talking about the story.
I can talk about the story forever. But...
All right, so let's. I'm going to move this over a little bit because I think I'm a little. There we go. I think that's going to be a little better. All right, so let's talk about the actual game. Yeah. So, on the game, this is a game of Old England and all the Old England names. And to start the game off, you are going to put those various factions all across the board. You know, the Saxons, the Northumbrians,
Danes,
the Danes, and the Mercians, which are the Saxons.
Right, and you play as 5 players.
Yep, it plays up to 5 players. And so you start with all these colors all around the board, and you play your starting character on the board, and then you start a card draft. And in the card draft, you have your own personal card, your card.
Right.
And then you card draft in a 2-player, I know it's 5 cards.
Yeah, I don't know how it changes.
It changes.
It'll probably change in them.
And you kind of, get this to your strategy, of course, what you're going to be doing in the game. And then the real gameplay starts.
Yeah.
And with this, you are going to conflict on each location, each separate battle in each location between the Saxons and the Danes.
Right. So there's 5 locations, so you're having 5 battles per round.
Right. And the goal is to be on the winning side. So originally when I saw this, I thought it was like, you build up your army and you attack.
Right.
Nope. Yeah, you're switching sides.
Essentially, so I played as Uhtred, right? And Jason played as Athelstan, the priestish dude. Works out. And I thought I had to be like, at first you feel like Jason was saying, I'm embodying the Danes. I'm going to have to play as the Danes. I got to move my color all over the map. But it's not about that. It's about, what did you say? What did you like? I liked your line. Flowing with the wind.
Take you wherever the wind goes.
Take you wherever the wind goes. Yeah. Switching allegiances, switching factions on whoever has most. Then, hey, I'm going to flip my allegiance token over to make the most points.
Right.
Because you're not there to dominate. You're there to score.
Exactly. So how do you do all this? So what you'll do is on your turn, again, you're going to be playing down cards as your primary action. Yeah. And you have to do at least one primary action every single turn. Then, and you can do optional secondary actions.
Like instant actions.
Right, and this can be, you play a card, this can be do something on your actual character board, or this can be take an action in the market, or you pass. Now, the nice thing is once you pass, you're not out, because passing only works if everybody passes and then you go on to the next stage. So you can go out, then come back in. And there are some benefits to passing.
There is.
Yeah. So once everybody passes and they put out their cards and everything, then you resolve the conflict in the region, and it's just based off of the power in the region. So you tabulate the amount of Saxons, you tabulate the amount of Danes. Whoever has the most points, that side wins the battle. Then you look at whoever's aligned with that faction, and they gain points.
Right, and so the cool part about this is your faction alliance, so to speak, is your point multiplier.
Yep.
And so the farther you get up in the Dane alliance in the track, the more each guy inside that battle is worth.
Right. But, like we said, how the game plays, and as we found out, you can't really take your big army and carry that the whole way. So on one side, okay, if Danes are big, if you're going to build up on there, then another side, the Saxons are big. Okay, you want to switch allegiances and be there. Or you want to do an action, which he got me on twice, where you double down, which that is that you're the only one to claim points if you're the winning faction.
Yeah, you can, so there, the market, which we'll talk about here, is you can spend your action points. Every hero starts with a certain amount of action points.
It's like your money.
I had 5. I think you had 4, 3. whatever. You can spend those to take the market action, which are like kind of like more powerful abilities. Like Jason was saying, I got to be able to double down, making me the only person to score, but I'm also out those action points.
Right.
And so the other crazy part about this is you got 5 cards and you have 5 battles. It doesn't refresh.
No, you don't take more cards. Except
Like-
your personal card.
Right, unless your personal cards,
yeah.
which is 2. But still, that's not a lot to, like, you cannot play every card, all the cards for every one battle. Because like we were playing and all of a sudden I was just doing stuff and I was like, yeah.
I was like, Adam, you know you don't get these cards back, right?
And I was like, oh man. All right, switch my style of play. So it's really, I think that makes it like really interesting.
Right, and the market itself, I like it as well because it's not, these places are not static. So the idea is that when you take a market ability, it slides to the back and it moves everything else up. So now that market action that you took is now the most expensive action for future turns until something else is taken
again,
and
like
moves it up.
you couldn't take the, I mean, you could if you had enough, but it makes it so that you can't just
keep taking the same action.
harvest it or mine it or however you want to call it.
Right. So then what you do is the first person to pass will get a little token, and they're going to choose the next battle.
Yeah.
The second battle. So once you resolve the conflict, they choose the next battle. You do some cleanup. You remove down to 5 armies in the region because it's more than 5 armies. You know, big battle. Not everybody lives.
Yeah, you can't have it. Not everyone's a winner.
And that's basically 1 turn.
Right.
You do 5 turns, and then you do second round card drafting, which way more powerful cards.
Oh man, the cards in the
way
second round
better.
are awesome.
Yeah, they're great.
Gain action, gain guys, gain faction alliance, bonus points.
Infinity,
Infinity. I mean, like, they're leaps and bounds. And actually, in a 2-player game, we move pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Once you get it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then you go through that 1 more time, so it's 10 turns total, 2 rounds, and that's the end of the game. And the person with the most victory points wins.
Right. I mean, it's pretty good. And I mean, adding more people and more factions that play as, or character. I guess you're not adding more factions. You're adding more characters that can be manipulating those factions. So you play as like Uhtred, Athelstan,
and they all have asymmetric abilities.
Right. Who else? Evelyswith, Siegfried, and Eric. Oh, those guys are nuts. That was great. Yeah, King Alfred. Like, I mean, you can literally play as. Like, there's a ton of characters to play as, so that's a lot of fun.
Right,
too.
and for the artwork on these, they all come with their own little miniatures.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a nice surprise when I opened the box. You know, I was like, oh, I didn't expect this to be here. And in addition to that, you have some of your minor characters, which are in your cards, and those come with little character tokens.
They're like kind of like their own events, so you kind of shuffle everybody you don't use, which I thought was really cool. Everybody you don't use, you shuffle them together and you pull out however many, depending on how many players you do, and you add them back into your level 1 and level 2 event deck, and those people can come back out. So like, I think you had Father, I don't remember his name. He's like Uhtred's right hand man slash
comment and tell us because we're forgetting right now.
Father somebody, he's bald. Anyways, he got to have him, and then he was converting Danes like it was no tomorrow.
Exactly.
So I mean, and that kind of stuff is like just cool. So like every time you were done through your turn, I think he just, is that how it was? He just created.
Every time I pass.
Every time he passes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's fun things like that, and there's even more people you can run into and unite and bring to your side. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. Like, again, like you said, the art is really nice. The models and like pieces are really nice. I was not expecting it to be miniatures inside the box. So yeah, I mean, it's a blast. If you haven't watched the show, check out the board game. Maybe you'll go watch the show, or watch the show and get the board game. Do both. It's fun. So yeah, I love Vikings. So huzzah. And we'll check you next time. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Noble Knights, for sponsoring this video. And yeah, Vikings out. Tabletop vibes.